Hello and welcome to my breakdown of WandaVision, the series finale. It was such a crazy episode, especially this whole season. I really appreciated the time and effort that was put into every little detail of this season. And I can only hope that they do the same for Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And I have no doubt that they will. However, for this breakdown, I will be focusing on scenes with Wanda specifically. I know that it's called WandaVision, but I feel like Wanda has a bit more of a future in Marvel as a whole, and she's also, in my opinion, the more interesting character of the two. So, without further ado, let's get started. In the beginning scene, it's right where we left off. Agatha is holding the twins by basically leashes, and Wanda is genuinely terrified for her children. And for a little bit, we see her trembling, but she has to put that aside and put on a brave face for her kids. She wants to seem competent and just to reassure them. And as Wanda freaks out and throws her first, well, technically it's her second blast out, Agatha drains the power from her, and Wanda's hand shrivels almost with age, which I like to think is a nod to the comics, where when witches, well, specifically good witches, use their magic, it takes years off their lives, and so many of them don't live very long. And specifically Wanda knows this many times, that she is aging and she will die. Not in the show, in the comics, just for clarification there. Wanda uses her magic to move the car to hit Agatha, which is a very obvious callback to Civil War when she attacked Tony at the airport. And this is the first of two nods back to, well, her past in the Marvel movies that I will note. We get a brief nod to The Wizard of Oz, which I very much enjoyed, when we see the shoes of Agatha sticking out from under the car after Wanda hits Agatha with it. And then I also want to note that Agatha believes Wanda is undeserving of the power that she has, which will come back to haunt her later in the episode. I also want to note that Vision does not even ask if Wanda is alright after he saves her from the White Vision. Not sure if that is important. He seems to still be holding a grudge after everything that Wanda's done. And I really don't blame him, because Wanda is definitely leaning to a more antagonistic way, for sure, during this episode, especially. Agatha does not care for Vision at all, even jeering at Wanda for how she's caught up with the two synthezoids, White Vision and her illusion Vision. I also think it's hilarious that they reference Terminator with the White Vision when he comes back from the camper van explosion. I'm not really going to mention Ralph/Pietro. I understand that other people are disappointed with how that turned out. As it would have been cool if Evan Peters would have been playing Peter Maximoff from the Fox's X-Men movies. But I think he served his purpose for what the show was trying to accomplish. Okay, now we're going to transition over to the town square scene where Wanda is looking for Agatha. She blasts her down, and then she starts to describe the Darkhold as the Book of the Damned. She says Wanda has an entire chapter devoted to her. I believe this implies that no matter what Wanda does, she is damned. There's no way for her to be good in the end. And I certainly hope that's not true, but I see that being implied here. When Wanda tries to say she is not the Scarlet Witch, she is basically affirming everything Agatha has said about the Scarlet Witch. So even if Wanda is just trying not to be the Scarlet Witch, it's her destiny. She can't get away from it, like she can't get away from her power, as we can see later in the episode. Agatha also says she is more powerful than the Sorcerer Supreme. This is great for her when eventually she hopefully becomes the villain. This is key to her future. This little nod to Doctor Strange, it will become very important in the movies to come. And hopefully we get to see her a little bit more in Spider-Man 3 before she becomes a major part of Doctor Strange 2 in the Multiverse of Madness. Agatha says she is destined to destroy the world, but I can't help wonder if she means a different world, because Wanda is hopefully going to crack open the multiverse, and those are different worlds technically. The multiverse has definitely been heavily alluded to in the Marvel universe, with time travel, of course, and then the meta nod within Spider-Man 2 when Mysterio says he is from another world. So the multiverse is coming for sure, and I can't wait to see Wanda's part in bringing it to fruition. Like I said, Wanda is definitely being set up as a villain. She is a very selfish character, and I don't want that to be taken the wrong way, because I love her so much. But you can't deny the signs that she is controlling a whole town, and they are all in pain. And she is blind to the pain that she caused for the people of Westview. And when Agatha snaps them out of their being a puppet for Wanda, that is just becoming more clear and clear that she is going to become a sympathetic villain in the future. The people tell Wanda what they are feeling, and I can't help but see this as a mirror of what Wanda feels inside. She is laying all of her pain, all of her grief onto these other people who may have not been living the best lives, but anything's better than what Wanda did to them. And Wanda, before our eyes, has a straight-up panic attack as she lashes out on accident, choking her captives. She's clearly out of control. She reverses the spells, she regrets it and feels guilty, but she still did it. I mean, you still have to do, how do I put this? You can have the villain crown forced upon you, even if you did your villainous things on accident. And that's clearly what they are setting up. Wanda always tries to be the hero, but the odds are stacked against her. Every time she tries to help, a loved one gets hurt, whether it's her, Vision, or her friends. A clear example of this is the airport battle, where she helps Captain America and Bucky get away, but Rhodey gets caught in the crossfires as she distracts Vision, and all of her friends end up in prison. And she tries to save the universe, but all she ends up doing is failing, and then she has to watch her true love die again in front of her. Her destiny is to be in grief always, and I hope that that changes. But for now, she's going to be stuck in this loop because she can't climb out of it. Vision, she sees, as she tries to let the town go, she sees Vision and the twins falling apart, which is a beautiful painting of the cover art for the comic book of House of M, where Wanda's just falling apart, like as if it was like puzzle pieces scattering to the ground. It's a beautiful cover. I definitely recommend that you go and look it up. Wanda chooses saving her illusion of a family over the real people of Westview. This is key to her character. As I said, she's a selfish character, and I feel so bad for her. And as she closes it, she looks to be in pain. I have noticed this many of the times she has used her magic. She seems to be in pain or stress. So that's definitely something to note and look for in the future. And as Wanda and her family get ready to fight the military and White Vision and Agatha, it mirrors the scene from The Incredibles, which is a great meta nod again. There are so many references in this episode. It just becomes really fun to pick it apart. But you can still see the good in Wanda. This is all very important. She saves the military from Agatha's might. She still has the conflict within her. And I think this will come to more fruition throughout her next appearances. She is definitely showing some Anakin Skywalker personality traits, for sure. One who is so powerful but is tempted to the dark side, of course. And I also want to point out that Wanda is not a great mother. She tells her twins to handle the military. And I get that her kids have superpowers, but they're still her kids, right? It's just kind of funny, I guess. And then when Wanda confronts Agatha again, she is shown to be a fast learner. She sarcastically mimics Agatha's teleportation spell. This is also foreshadowing for later in the episode. Also, I know I only said this was for a Wanda breakdown, but I wanted to give a shout out to Darcy in this episode. I think we all were excited when she rammed Hayward with I think it was like an ice cream truck. It was just really funny, and I really appreciated that, of course, because Hayward is an awful human being. Okay, so as we continue on, Wanda again copies one of her old moves, but this time it's from Age of Ultron. She makes Agatha see the day of where her coven tried to kill her. This is like when Wanda made the Avengers see their darkest fears. Agatha's seems to be that day where she killed her coven, which makes me think she has guilt for what she did that day. I mean, I'm hoping she has guilt for what she did that day, because that will definitely have more character to it than her just being afraid of dying. But the spell turns on Wanda, and the undead coven recognizes Wanda as the mythic Scarlet Witch, and they tie her up, replacing Agatha with Wanda. Her spell backfired, showing she's still much to learn, even though she's a fast learner. I also want to note, before she was tied up, Agatha had begged Wanda for help during this moment. But Wanda just cocked her head, almost playfully. She enjoyed watching Agatha mentally suffer. And I just think that above all else is a very, very clear nod to her becoming a villain. The undead also call Wanda the harbinger of chaos, which in the dictionary, the word harbinger, I feel like I'm destroying the pronunciation of that word, but it means a person or thing that announces or signals the approach of another. Wanda is basically the trumpet boy for chaos and disaster. And then we see Wanda's crown appear magically on her head. I am not sure whether this was on purpose, but my guess is that it was not. I also do not believe Wanda was tempted by Agatha's lie of having a perfect world for Westview. The reason is that Wanda was already planning the rune scheme where she trapped Agatha in her hex. That is because she kept Vision from helping her with take care of Agatha. So I don't think Wanda, first of all, believed Agatha, or she wasn't tempted at all. She knew she had to let Vision go. Although I do believe her when she says she doesn't want her power anymore, but she has accepted her fate as the Scarlet Witch at this point. The other reason I believe Wanda did not lose her power in the end is because she is deserving of it. And as Agatha said, Agatha can only take power from the undeserving. And I think that was important, because if it wasn't important, she wouldn't have said that, because they are very clear with Agatha's motivations in this final episode. I also love this shot where Agatha's blackened hands reach out to Wanda, like the darkness pulling Wanda in. It was a beautiful shot, and it was up there with the shots that I was deciding to choose from for my picture of the episode, I guess. Now Agatha is trembling in fear as Wanda takes back what is rightfully hers. She is afraid of the chaos that the Scarlet Witch will beckon in. It is so cathartic to see Agatha tremble after all she did to Wanda. A very beautiful and intricate costume greets us at the end of Wanda's transformation. I also want to note that in the costume there are 2 nods to the Mind Stone in her outfit. so she is always going to remember Vision in her costume, and I think that's very, very, very nice, I guess. I also love the smirk that Wanda gives when Agatha calls her cruel. It is a wonderful nod for what will hopefully come in Doctor Strange 2. Wanda is very confident in her new costume and she is now wearing the scarlet crown with pride. Elizabeth Olsen is a wonderful actor, and she is able to act through all these decades and then come out of everything and play a beautiful, confident, yet conflicted character. It's very, very beautiful to watch. Wanda learned from Agatha's spells, reminding us again that in the comics, Agatha taught Wanda, which gives me hope for Agatha's future in the MCU. Hopefully she will come back in Doctor Strange 2 and be sort of a guide to Wanda in the multiverse. Wanda is also pleased with... I also want to note, for my end of this breakdown, that Wanda was pleased. She was happy with what she did with Agatha. She smiled and she kind of laughed at Agatha's torment as she turned her into the nosy neighbor. I also want to briefly touch on Vision scenes. I think Vision scenes were good, but I feel like he has a less interesting future in the MCU. I hope I'm proven wrong, but we'll have to see. The twins are definitely coming back for sure, because, I mean, they're two of the most popular characters in the Marvel Comics, and of course Kevin Feige will want to bring them in, and he's already piecing together the Young Avengers. And as for Monica, she will probably be heading over to the Secret Invasion Disney Plus show, and then of course to Captain Marvel 2. Hopefully Jimmy Woo will be heading over to Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, and then White Vision, we'll have to see where he goes. Wanda's and Vision's goodbye was one of the most beautiful scenes I've ever seen. It was perfect for what their characters had gone through, and it's very sad that Wanda can't get past her own grief. Well, not her grief, because get past her own sins and wants to bring everyone back again. So that is my breakdown of WandaVision episode 9. Please let me know your thoughts down below. Subscribe today. Go find me on Twitter and have a wonderful day.